All right, that should be a good view of it. This is going to be a lot of fun, and thank you for tuning into Indian Trace. You're really going to like this. And I just have to believe so because what I did is, first of all, I was inspired by Jonesy, who had a bowl of sort of a Christmas bowl of his favorite artifacts. Now, this is a rhyolite Christmas tree. Can you see this? It was a good view of it. But this will be fun. I have some time and relaxation in the holidays here, and I pulled from the very top of my display, out of a couple bins, my very favorite rhyolite points. Of course, my favorites usually fall into the 2-inch range for points, so these are all about 2 inches. Just happens to be something that I like. So, in fashion of the bowl of points that he put up, and you'll have to check out Jonesy's site. That was great, man. Some really great stuff just to look at and relax with, and he had it in that sort of atmosphere. Don't have a lot of music mixed in this, but I want to show you some of these points and just show you what this lineup of what I would call my favorites. Now, my favorites are definitely not all my perfect points, and I'll show you what I mean if I can do this with the focus. Because right here, and the light's real good, is a great point that's a favorite just because of its bevel and its serration, but of course it's just nipped off the tip, but it still finds a great place in my favorites lineup, so I'll put him right up there. And so needless to say, just looking through them, I know which ones are just nicked out of here. Some of these are absolutely perfect, there's no doubt, but they don't have to be my favorite. In my favorites bin, which is a special display place up top. I'm working with my camera to practice a little bit, so bear with me, because you got to go a little slow sometimes and not move the camera hand. And we're getting good at this, just some fun stuff. This point was found so early in my career, like it's nicked a little bit, but it still finds its place in my favorites, just its dimensions and what have you. And so there's a good place for that in the collection. And you know, the way it works out, you know, I might have a mind one day just to give it away and keep rolling forward, keep those two going. And we're just going to go through them, just like Jonesy did that bowl of points, see if I can get through this stuff, because that was really inspiring. I really liked the way he just sort of went through the points and just grabbed one and took a look at it. So let's look at some of these things. Right here is a point unique to all of these that I found at the basin. Don't find many rhyolites here in this. Just really taking the ornaments off this rhyolite Christmas tree. Look at this. Look at the backdrop on that. And I don't know if the focus is working. I gotta trust my eye. But this was early. It could be broken. It's still perfectly awesome to me because I hadn't found a lot of points that were just exceptional at that time. It was about 2 years ago. So of course this fueled me up. It's just a great point. Now, this point actually came from close to where that last one did, over at the basin. See if I can show you these points in the spirit that Jonesy did. I really appreciate that video, Jonesy, and it just really, I told you, it inspired me to just maybe make a bowl, or in this case a Christmas tree points, and show some of these that I consider just my favorite rhyolite points. And you can see the relief in these, and the lighting is good. And some of you might say, yep, I know why that's a favorite. Here's a point off the Archaic. It's rough, but it's rhyolite, and it just, sometimes you pick them up and you say, man, yep, that's just a favorite of mine. Little nick from the plow, but this point, I don't know, sometimes there's just something about it, and you have to just accept it, you know, put it up with where you have your favorites stored. I'm not even paying too much attention to which ones I grab like he did. This is a great point off Saponi. That day I found another one almost just like this, a little bit smaller. It was awesome. And, you know, it was just a time out. I don't get to go out for a whole day. A little nicked off of there, but it's still a great piece for a favorite. Great point for it. The holiday afternoon here. rolling through these. Great point from opening sands here. Look at this piece. Traditional arrowhead shape, right? And look at the relief here. Good stuff, isn't it? I'm trying to watch my time at the same essence that I'm making this and go right through them. One of the first points I found right here, this arrowhead, right behind my church, believe it or not. The field is pretty productive. It is North Gill Field, and I mean, I was pretty shocked when I found it. And when I found it, I wasn't as excited as I am now because, you know, I just didn't know the stuff that well then, and I was just like, are you serious? Can you really find this stuff? I'm having trouble with my focus. There we go. And indeed you can, you know. Worthwhile to have a favorite like that for rhyolite. This Christmas tree is full of good gifts, isn't it? Another favorite style here. Off of Mecca. Just a favorite point, whether it's the thickness or the size. And you never know what's going to make a piece your favorite or a favorite for you. I got lots of them. Lots of them. And I wanted to show this also and make this mention as I roll through some of these great points. Here's a point off the archaic. I think this is a Rowan, but this is a sweet point. I've been able, just in lead, to give away a lot of artifacts. And I've had more than one note saying, you know, how can you do that? You know, how do you have any to keep? Well, just look at some of this stuff you're seeing. These are all keepers. I mean, I have plenty. And it's been a real great thing to have these. And my focus is not making me feel good about it. I have to go slower, that means. But I'm trying to keep the speed decent. This came off the archaic. Needless to say, as I make a pile and go through this stuff, I've had plenty of good points. I can easily just grab a handful and make a tree here of my favorites. And so no worries out there. You know, share alike. You know, I just do what I can to keep moving forward and represent the North American Indian. This is a unique piece. Unique piece. Just worked exactly the way they wanted it out of Site 7. Look at this piece. Of course it's a favorite, right? Ancient Indian hunting points. That's what this stuff is. Now look at this. Rhyolite, banded, from my buddy's property. This is from Hidden Hill. And of course you say, oh well, of course that's a favorite. This is off Notchville. Just great rhyolite. They traded this or carried this rhyolite here. No less than 13 days round trip foot travel to get this rhyolite here. All right, I've got to keep moving. A great point off Notchville right here. I don't know, the 2-inch range just seemed to be it. Some of these are bigger, but look at this piece from Mecca. The base won it all, right? Easy favorite in this Christmas tree. I'm just picking it down. Don't even know which ones I'll find or show last or first. This is off Mecca as well. Really like this. And I know with some of the flints that people have and they carve and they look so great in that flint, I admire it. This rhyolite, you know, they did what they could and they've made some really great, you know, hunting points out of it. I mean to tell you, right? Just great points. And, you know, it doesn't stop. Look at this piece. Here's a piece right here that I found early. When I say that, it's about 2 years ago at the Bear. Place where there's full of bear tracks. There's just a lot of particulars about this piece that I really liked. Now, I was talking with Flintsball today, and the mention was that, if there's one or two people that when you share something that really get a lot out of it, that inspires them to do something different or learn something or go out there again and give it another go, well, that's what it's all about. I don't, we were talking about it, I don't really care if 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever people watch. I don't care, I'm not after that. There's one or two of you out there that'll probably write and say, thanks a lot for sharing that highlight of your favorites. That was just awesome. Now, you don't have to if it's not. But see, that's what it's about. And I don't know who it is. It could be somebody, but these are my favorite highlight points. Favorite size, favorite pieces. This is from Beaver Point. Just a great piece. One of my earliest pieces. Again, this is about 3 years ago I found it. I love it more now, just understanding it and understanding, what's rare to find and what's not. Look at the workmanship on this. They sure did a great job with the highlight. Now, a couple more and we'll be finished. The video is much longer than I thought. This came off of Outer Edge, and it's just a unique point. Check this out. They just work with the rock and left it perfectly the way they wanted to. It's very smooth on the back side of it. Just a great point. All right, we're finishing up. This is a great point. Now, I say that about everyone, don't I? I was really happy to find this. A lot of these you've seen on film. Fantastic opportunities just to revisit them and sort of get it up close and personal, so you can either check the base out again or the thickness or how the point lays. If you were here or if we visited, you could pick these things up, check them out, and that's really what it's about. Look at this relief. All right. Don't know if this video is going to cut off. This came off high rise. And one more to show you. When I took this whole Christmas tree apart was this one. Look at that base, will you? Off the Cascade. I don't know if it's the focus coming in good on this, but that just about does well to finish it all up. And I want to thank you for tuning into Indian Trace, because those are just my favorite highlights. Highlight Christmas tree taken down right there. Of course, Merry Christmas, and if you go out hunting, I hope you find something stellar.